This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so welcome back. We are going to kind of finish up our conversational selling module, talk a little bit about how some conversations have gone for you over the last week or two, and and then also answer our hot topic questions. One of which, let's just start with that one. So, um, they were the most important person in your life, influence in your life, and why? Anybody want to answer that one?
Okay. Um, my Sunday school teacher,
Your Sunday
uh,
school teacher currently, or one of your past ones?
she overcome cancer twice,
Wow.
and she rides her bicycle maybe 50 miles every day.
Oh my goodness. That's
Yes,
awesome. That's a little bit inspiring, isn't it?
yes. She goes to lots of places. She went all the way through the Gettysburg and all through there. It was a with a bunch of other bikers. It was over
Wow.
600 miles.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and she always can achieve what she puts out to do.
Yeah. She sets her mind to something, she does it, right?
Yes.
So what do you take away from that you can then apply to your life or your business, or how do you use that important, interesting influence to
I
help
need
you?
I need to get that in my head that if and set high goals and go for it and keep don't stop until I get there.
Right? And you did that, the end of campaign, or the end of fourth quarter, campaign 26. You made President's Club, you made Bronze Ambassador, and now it's time to keep moving on to the next goal, which
Yeah.
I know that you're very interested in making the trip to Los Cabos.
Yes.
Um, and um, along with that, when you make the Silver Ambassador, you're going to get that Silver Ambassador bonus. So that, which is in turn going to help you to get the Los Cabos. So it's all going to work together. So, um, and interestingly enough, this is the module we're going into goal setting tonight. So this is the module where we really start looking at, okay, what really are my goals and how am I going to do that? Because that's where it really starts. The rubber really meets the road. You really start putting it together. We've talked about conversations. We've talked about, relationship piece, but how do we go from creating those relationships to creating and reaching our goals? And so we'll go through this goal setting module tonight here shortly, and that will really begin to help. It'll start the process towards helping. So how about you, Jenny? Who's the most interesting or most influential person that you know? You don't know anybody interesting or influential? Oh, you're on mute, I think, or I'm not hearing you.
Yes, I muted myself. Sorry, is in case my son's about ready to walk in the door and the dogs are gonna go crazy. That's why I muted myself. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, not at the moment that I can think of anybody off the top of my
Okay.
head.
No worries. We'll let you try the second question, which is, how will you impact your own sales and inspire increase in your team sales using basically the current incentives, the double dollars, the high five online incentive, and the Make It to Jamaica trip? How can you utilize those incentives to inspire your team? What are
Um,
you doing? What are you thinking?
Well, actually, what I've been doing is I've mailed out some using campaign mailer. I've mailed out some brochures out to some people that are out of town, out of
Hmm.
state kind of thing. Just making sure that they have a book and knowing that they can go online, knowing that they're out of state, they can do that. I
Right.
also what I've been doing is with the gold digger that we webinar that we did. I've been doing
Hmm.
every day. I've been doing the 5x5. I've been sending out a little text out to 5 people every day and asking them to send out to help me promote my
Nice.
business. Yep. And actually, it's a couple people each day have texted me back saying that they've done it. They send it out. And I talked to one person. I said today, I saw her today, and I said, "Thank you for doing that for me." She goes, "Oh yeah, she did it as a group text because it was all her girlfriends." So she did it as a group text and sent it out to everybody, and they're actually interested in doing um, possibly in that she had bought some Avon perfumes for them for Christmas. So she's getting them interested in Avon and everything. So she's trying to get them to order through me. She said so. She's helping her.
Wow. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And be sure, you guys, when you have successes with this, share those on the Southeast page. Share them on the Leadership Powerhouse. I know you guys noticed that the Leadership Powerhouse group is back.
Mhm.
Um, I've put that back in play and basically went through and removed all the old stuff that was old discussions, old stuff that didn't apply, left any of the inspirational quotes, left some of the stuff that still does apply in there. And that's really our local group of leaders, our territory of leaders that we can really develop and share and pull from. And then, of course, the Southeast region is the Southeast region. And that's anybody that's in the region can be on that page. And actually, it has some members that aren't in the Southeast region, making it a bit confusing. But, but yeah, so, share those successes, because the more you share, even the little, what sounds little to you might be huge to somebody else, because somebody else may not be doing that, sharing that high five, 5x5 every day, and getting people that come back and say, yes, I'm sharing it.
Mhm.
So, sometimes you send it out and you're like, well, look, I don't know if they shared it or not, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're getting feedback that they're sharing it, even if you're getting a couple of feedback that they're sharing it, that's huge, because that's at least 15 contacts. If it's 2 people sharing it a day, that's at
Mhm.
least 15 contacts a day,
Mhm.
that you're getting. And then I know that you addressed it on your team meeting. Jenny had a team meeting with her team, and her upline helped her with that. What was that, last Tuesday or Thursday?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday.
Last
I
Thursday.
can't keep up, and
Yes.
I was gonna pop in, and the next thing you know, I'm like, I can't leave. It's so engaging. It was a great call. And my husband was doing stuff anyway, so it was all good. But it was truly a great call, and you did, you really did inspire your leaders to take some action and to take advantage of those different incentives. So you did it through that Zoom meeting. You're doing it with
Mhm.
your customers, with your friends and family.
Mhm.
And one of the things that you said was that this person is trying to encourage her friends to order Avon from you.
Mhm.
You know, who's to know? She may decide, hey, I'm getting a lot of orders together for you. Let me just do this. Or you may decide to say, hey,
Yeah.
what would that look like? She could become a new team member even. I don't know if you all saw Rita's post. Well, I know Jenny did, because I saw
Yep.
that you liked it. Um,
Yep.
but very same thing. She reached out to her. It was a different scenario, but she reached out to her. She places a $90 order. Well, of course, the next step is just that. Have you thought about getting your products at a discount, doing this for yourself? Because if she's placing $90 orders, good grief. Maybe that would be somebody that would be a good potential person that could use a little money, whether it be as a business or like the new side hustle mentality. I also saw a story on, and I think it was just on Marie's personal page, where she was talking about how she couples Uber with Avon. And I know, we know Janet, who does Uber and Avon and Lyft. So we're going to see more of that, because that's kind of the age that we live in. More, I'm dabbling in this and that. It used to be like, okay, you need to focus. Is your focus here or is your focus there? Because this is a business. But if they're seeing it as a potential to bring immediate income, why can't it be a little of this and a little of that? And if they're getting paid right, and then potentially, if it whatever starts making them money is what they're going to do. So it's a really good thing. I think we can have a lot more impact and reach with different mentalities. So right now we have the ability to sell online or to sell from the brochures. We have the ability to offer people a business opportunity where they're seek out retirement income, replacement income, real income money, or we have the potential of offering somebody, $50 for the weekend. So you have a lot more reach and a lot more potential. People don't have to feel like they're in it for the long haul if they don't want to be in it for the long haul, and vice versa. If they're ones that really want to take it for a business, then that's the way you want to mold that person on your team. So it really makes it about them. So anything else that's come up over the last couple of weeks that's like, hey, we really need to address this, or I really have a burning question about, in terms of the incentives, anything at all, really? Changes, incentives?
Hey,
Yeah.
Okay. When I go on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
I get all these men followers. So I've reached out to 3 of them, and I've told them that I was an Avon rep, and I told them, showed them my website, and I says, when you look at my book and you order something, then get back with me.
Well, and let me tell you, when you have the business, because when you have it as a business, it can't be private, because the whole point is to develop a public business, right? You want to be able to reach out beyond your 4 walls and have people share. So the more you start sharing and the more hashtags you start using, the more followers you're going to get. But you are going to get some of those, just like you do on Facebook. I get people on Facebook and Instagram. Not as many on Instagram right now. Like, I went through a time when I first started the Instagram, the first few weeks, I was getting a lot of crazy followers, and then it seemed to settle down. I don't know if that's the norm. On Facebook, I typically get strange men about every day or every other day. And you can literally remove them. So when you get the request, and then you can slide it over and opt to remove them. If you look at their profile page and they don't have any followers, or they have very few followers, or anything, doesn't look like anybody that needs to be following you, you can just remove them. You don't even have to entertain the thought, because I
just ignore.
Yeah, you can remove them, you can block them. Yeah, I know Tina was telling me when, and I know you met Tina the other day, Sherry, at that meeting. Tina was telling me of several stories where she was actually carrying on a back and forth conversation with these guys. And she's like, do I have to put up with this? Well, no. Yeah, just like Jenny said, ignore them and just move on. It's not, just remove them. There are some men that could potentially reach out to you and be business, but you're going to know the difference. You can see the difference in their profiles. Because like I said, it's the same kind of thing with Facebook. When you pull up somebody and it's some, it's somebody in a military uniform and they have no friends on the page, and you can, they just created this picture and this profile to try to scam people or bring people in. That's what you want to stay away from. So, and you can definitely do that. All right. Anything else before we roll into the new stuff? All right. Did that help, Sherry?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, well, we are going to then roll into the new stuff. I'm going to share my screen. Am I already sharing my screen? No, I'm not. I can answer my own question.
I answered you, but I was muted, so I'm sorry.
I'll just answer my own question.
Oh.
You're back to me. Now, there won't be a lot of, there's not any reading and all of that this time, but there will be a few questions back and forth. But I'll give you time so you can come on and off mute it as you need to. Let me hide the webcam so I can see everything. All right. So can everybody see goal setting, the first step to achieving your dream?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So welcome to this next group call. You are now beginning to become an opportunity maker. We've talked about building relationships with people. We've talked about starting conversation and using our conversational selling skills. So now we're really going to work together to take that next step towards achieving your dreams. So like I said earlier, this is really where the rubber meets the road, and you begin to set your goals and make practical application of it for yourself. So for our agenda tonight, in goal setting, we're going to start with your dream. We're going to talk about SMART goals and what SMART goals represent. We're going to talk about our measures and what we use to create our goals, what to think about, and how to define the strategies that you're going to use towards your goals. This honestly will be a rather quick call tonight in terms of the slides. The bulk of the work on this one is going to be in your application guide. If you have not opened it and seen it, you will talk about it, of course, towards the end of the call, but it is lengthier. It is one that you cannot wait until the day before to work on. It's one you're going to want to start working on now, not necessarily right now, but in the next day or so, and work on it maybe a little over time, or get it done so that you have it ready, or you won't be ready. And that way, if you have problems, you'll have time. There's a lot of tools included in the email to help you find the materials that you need. We'll actually walk through on this call a few of those things, only because the materials were printed in the old Vibe. So now Vibe has changed a little bit, as we know. So just going to want to make sure everybody's a little bit comfortable with where to find the bulk of the information towards the end of the call. But the bulk of your time on this module is really going to be spent with yourself and filling out that application guide and really putting some thought into setting your goals and discovering where your business is at and where you want it to go. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into this presentation tonight and start with a little story, actually. So the members of Harvard 1979 MBA program excuse me, were asked if they had written down a clear set of goals. Only 3% of them had. So 10 years later, the 3% that had written their goals were earning on average 10 times more than the other 97% of the class combined. So come off mute and tell me, why do you think that is?
They had an idea where they were going, where they wanted to be.
Exactly. They had defined where they were going, and they had their path, where they were, and they knew what they wanted. Um, Anything to add to that, Sherry?
No.
That's not a big percentage, that's for sure either.
Yeah, and if
Oh,
they
it's not.
and if they wrote it down, then they kept it fresh in their mind because
There
they
you
could
go.
see it.
Because why? Go ahead.
Because they could see it in front of them.
Mm-hmm. So between the two of you, you captured pretty much everything that I saw in that statement. So they knew what they were going after. They had clearly set their goals and knew what they wanted and were going for it. And Sherry pulled in that final piece. They wrote it down. So it's written down. When you can say, oh, I want to make, whatever title, whatever amount of money, right?
Yeah.
But when you really commit to it and you write it down, and as Sherry put it, you have it in front of you all the time. I know people who put it on the refrigerator. I know people who put it on their bathroom mirrors. But when you have your goals in front of you, or your vision board,
hanging in the
or
car
whatever,
on the visor.
that's a great idea. Yeah, in the car on the visor. When you have it in front of you all the time, especially Sherry, if you're in the car a lot, like some of us are, it makes a difference, and obviously it makes a huge difference. And to Jenny's point, yeah, it's a very small percentage of all those people that actually, but it's the ones who took the time to spell it out and say, this is when I want it, this is how I want it, this is where I'm going, and by when, and we'll get into all the specifics of how you set those goals. So, as we start dreaming, it is important to dream big. Avon has helped many great people achieve big dreams. So, but your dream is just that. It's your dream. What do you want? Determine specifically how your business is going to help you achieve it, and by when. When do you want to achieve it? So how much money do you need to do whatever it is? What title will you need to be in order to have that amount of money to do whatever it is? And how much time do you have to invest in your business to achieve it? So both of you work outside of Avon. So, it's unrealistic for you to think, I'm going to spend 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week on Avon, because you're already doing that in another job.
Mm-hmm.
But what amount of time do you have, and how do you do the most? How do you get the most bang for your buck? How do you do the most with the time that you have and use your time efficiently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that we will start that in goal setting, and we will finish that in planning, because planning is where we'll take the goals and move it into the time. So that's where you'll get the time management piece, and all the structure pieces that go with this. So I told you that we were going to talk about SMART goals. SMART is an acronym. SMART means that it is specific, it is measurable, it's attainable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. So let's discuss a couple of examples, and I want you to tell me if they're smart or not smart. Okay, so this goal says, I want to recruit more.
That's smart.
Is that smart or not smart?
Yes.
Is it smart?
I want to recruit more.
I want to recruit more. Is that smart or not smart, and why?
Probably not, because it's not specific.
No, it says, I am going to recruit more.
Even if you say, I am going to recruit more, how can you measure that? How do you know what more is?
I was gonna say it's
Oh,
not specific either.
How do you know when
a
more
specific
is?
amount of people you want to recruit.
There you go. So what if I said, I want to recruit one person each month through the end of this year? Is that smart or
Yes.
not smart?
That's smart.
Yes. Right, because you've defined specifically, I want to recruit one person. You can determine one person a month, okay? That's measurable. Either I did or I didn't, right? It's
Yeah.
attainable because one person is not 50 people. I want to recruit 50 people this month is not really probably practical for most people. Um, it is time bound. It is each month by the end of the year until the end of the year. So it's time bound. It's relevant. It's helping you build your business.
Yeah.
So it is all of those things. What if we say, I want to increase my personal sales? Is that smart or not smart?
No.
No, that's smart.
Not smart, correct. So if we say, I want to increase each of my personal orders for campaign 3 and 4 by $100, is
Yes.
that one smart?
Yep.
But
It is, because it does tell you specifically what they want to do. You can measure it. You can find out whether you did or didn't increase by $100, whether you did it in both campaigns or just one. It is relevant to your business. It is attainable. It is certainly attainable to add $100 to your sales. And it's specific to a span of time. It's not, I just want to increase my personal orders by $100. Well, for how long? When? So you've got campaign 3 and 4 in there that covers that time bound piece. So perfect. So that's when we start looking at goals, that's really what we're looking at. So when you start thinking about your goals, and that's why I said the application guide piece of this is detailed. It is work. It is a lot of thinking through making it specific. You know, give it your absolute best shot, and that's what the one-on-one is for us to fill in the gaps. So don't stress over it, but do complete it, if that makes sense. So the next thing we're going to look at is the metrics that we use to ensure that our goals really are specific, measurable, and relevant. So we're going to begin with our personal goals because they're the ones that are most directly tied to your dream. Personal goals include earnings title, your Generation 1 new appointments, and your personal sales dollars. So basically everything that you do is included in your personal goals. In your team goals, it's your team's appointments, your team size, your team's order activity, orders, average orders, and sales. So if it's about you, it's in your personal goals. If it's about what the team is doing, it's in their goals.
Question.
There is,
Just real quick, and the team new appointments, is that like being like a generation 2 or 3? So your team has a new appointments? Is that what that means?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you have a new appointment, it's under your personal goals. If your team has, tell me one of your team members, Mary. If Mary puts somebody on her team, that goes in the team new appointments.
That would be a team goal then. Okay, got it. Okay.
So that's the difference there. Gosh, it is really raining outside here.
Yeah.
Little bit distracting tonight. Luckily, the internet's holding, so we're good. So then, let's talk about some things that you should consider as you're thinking about your personal goals. The first thing you need to consider is your dream, because you need to know where you're heading How close do you want to get to achieving your dream within the specified period of time? We're talking about, in this instance, the next 6 campaigns. Where do you want to get in the next 6 campaigns? Your dreams may take you years to achieve. It may be a long-term goal that you're trying to reach, but what piece of that do you want to achieve in the next 3 months, the next 6 campaigns? Another important consideration is your time. Like we talked about earlier, you have other jobs, you have family, you have other things that you're doing. So if your goals are aggressive, but you don't have time to dedicate to them, then you're going to become frustrated because you're not going to be successful necessarily. You're either going to be successful and exhausted, or you're not going to be successful and you're going to be frustrated because you've made the goal so aggressive that the only way you can reach it is to totally wear yourself out, and then you're no good to anybody, right?
Right.
So you want to think about the time that you do have to invest, and then how much of that time do you really commit to investing? Because you can say I have available 10 hours a week, but are you really working your business 10 hours a week? Are you going to commit to doing it? So it's all about what you're willing to and committing to doing as you look at your personal goals. So the things you want to consider, as you can see on the screen: what do you need to achieve in order to make the progress towards your dream? How much time can you commit? What are the past results? So if you've been averaging a team member once every 2 or 3 months, is it realistic to all of a sudden say, I'm going to get 3 a campaign?
No.
Probably not. You could. That means you're kicking it in gear and you're doing something. But is it realistic for you? So you want to look at, what are my past results? What can I do? My past results weren't as good, but it's because I really didn't focus. So if I focus, maybe I could pull off 1 or 2 a campaign, because I wasn't doing that in the past. Or I used to do that in the past, but I don't have the time I had in the past. So now maybe I need to back it off a little bit. So you're really thinking about how you want to lay out your goals and how aggressive you want to be. And then how much will each one of your new appointments impact your business? And we'll get more into that when we look at the average order size of your of the people on your team, and that's really more of an individualized discussion. So then once you have, and that was literally just an overview, you will actually fill out your numbers and put things into practice in terms of your personal goals on the application guide. But now we look at setting team goals. So things to consider in your team goals is, what does your team need to achieve in order for you to reach your personal goals? What does your team need to achieve in order for them to reach their personal goals? And my thinking is, and always has been, and something that we've kind of always said, if you will help your team reach their goals, you'll get to your goals. It will just stream out of that. What has your team done in the past? Same kind of scenario as you talked about with your personal. What are your team's best opportunities for growth? Where and with who do you want to focus your efforts on with your team this year? Oh, it didn't. Oh, now it's going to move twice. No, it didn't. Good. Oh, yeah, I did. It was just very delayed because I knew I clicked it twice. So as you set goals for the next 6 campaigns, think about it as you're making progress towards your ultimate personal and team goals. So what do you need to do to achieve and stay on track to reach your goal? Even what season is it? Is it a season where you can expect more or less business from in this time of year? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it a busy time for you at work, a less busy time. Season doesn't literally mean spring, winter, summer, fall necessarily. It can also mean what season of life are you in, what's going on around you. That could impact how successful or how much time you can really invest. Where do you plan to focus your efforts? Can you focus on growing your team now, which will positively impact your business in the long term? Anything else that you guys can think of as you're setting goals for the next campaign that you would really want to be mindful of that we haven't talked about? So if not, again, you're going to reflect back as you set your goals. You're going to reflect on them and really look at them. You're going to write the goals down. This one might be one of those, especially when you get into the writing parts of the goals. It might be one of those you do in pencil first, and then you put it in the computer or in ink, so that you can really reflect on it and go, yeah, I probably could have stretched myself a little further on that one, or no, that one's not quite specific enough, or oh, maybe I thought a little bit too highly of myself there. Maybe I need to back it down a little bit. I went back and looked at my past, and maybe I'm not that able to do that much. Different things like that. So you can make adjustments. I had one in my very first session of coaching. We sat down, and actually Jeanette happened to be there with me. We did this one live. It was right after Rep Fest in Nashville 2 years ago. And the leader and I sat down, and like I said, Jeanette was there. We went through her goal setting. She had her goals, clearly defined. After our discussion, though, as I began to question a little more, she's like, oh, maybe I want to change this. I didn't really consider this and this, and and she literally went home and sent me an entirely new plan 2 days later. So you can change, and that's kind of the purpose of going through the exercise and then us getting together one-on-one, because then we can really talk and figure out, are you stretching yourself enough? Have you stretched yourself too much? Where are those boundaries? So it's okay to change them. And it's the right thing to do, to adjust them. You want to adjust as you go along, because nobody wants a goal out there that you're never, ever, achieving. Then you get frustrated and give up. And you don't want one that's so stinking easy that you could have done it just by saying it versus going out there and putting some effort into it. So there's a balance there. So again, as you're defining the strategies, what you're going to do after you've written your goals, then you're going to think about the strategies. In other words, what are the things you're going to put in place to make it happen? It's not really all the details. It's more of just the overview. How will you achieve your title goal? How will you increase your earnings? How will you increase your personal sales? For team goals, how will you help your team grow their teams? How will you help representatives become leaders? How will you keep your team focused on their goals? How will you help your team to increase average order size? Things like that. And there's a lot of them. You don't necessarily need me to read them all, because you'll be making up your own strategies as you go along. And all the helpful hints are on the application guide. So at this time, we're going to exit this. I really did leave the application guide at the bottom this time. Fabulous. You guys can see the application guide now. It says your goals and strategies at the top. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what you're going to look at here, first part of this is fairly straightforward. This is my dream, by when, in order to achieve it. So I want a family vacation by I don't know, October of 2019. In order to do that, I'm going to need to make X number of dollars. And in order to make those X number of dollars, I'm probably going to need to be such and such a title. So where do I want my title to be? How much money do I want to have? And then, for some reason, I'm having trouble getting to my. Then you're putting in, what did you earn in the last 3 months? If you don't know what you've earned, how do you know how much more you need to earn? So you go back and you look at what you've earned over the last 3 months. It doesn't have to be to the penny. So when you look at sales, if most of your stuff is 40%, then you have some 20% items in, 25% items in there. Maybe you go with 30 or 35%. Just round it up, just figure out your sales piece, and then you can get literally your leadership earnings off of Vibe. So what's your current title? Where do you want to be in the next 3 months? And what do you want your earnings to look like then? Then you're reflecting back. I'm going to show you some ways to pull your numbers here in a moment. These are things to think about. You don't necessarily have to go down and answer what drove your results. Can you repeat it? What can you do differently? These are things to think about, and then put your information in your notes. What's important for me enough to write it down in my notes so that I keep it on the forefront of my mind. That's what goes in the notes. Here's where you get into the numbers. So you're basically going to take, you're going to take campaign 4 and go backwards, because you're not going to be finished with 5 in order to do it. So you're going to take campaign 4, 3, 2, 1, 26, and 25. And that's what's going to go in the blank. And it doesn't matter to me if you go campaign 4 and go backwards, or go campaign 25 and go forwards. But the last 6 campaigns, your earnings amounts, your earnings title, how many appointments you had, and what your personal sales were. There is a chart I will show you in a moment that will give you all that, so that you don't have to search all over creation.
That's good.
The same thing for your right? The same thing for your team. Team appointments, team size, team order activity, team orders, team average order size, team sales. All of it on a report. All of it's on a report for you.
On the brain.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in Vibe.
So, yeah, it's all on Vibe for you, and I'm going to show it to you just in a minute, just so we're all on the same page. This next, and this is me talking and being extremely honest with you. If you can, if this chart makes wonderful sense to you, and you can look at your last 6 campaigns, and then you can go, yep, this is what I want my next 6 campaigns to be, then you fill out this chart. And you fill it out to the best of your ability. If you cannot fill out this second chart, I am not going to cry over it. I promise you. Because I'm going to show you something in the one-on-one where what I need to know is, where do you want to be in 3 months? What title and how much money do you want to be making, so that I can help you get from where you are to where you want to be. So if you can fill it out in this chart, that's beautiful. But if you can't, don't panic over it, and don't worry over it.
And this one, if we do, this will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
This would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes.
Okay.
Can you look
5,
at
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Can you look at last year's and go from that and add to it?
Yes and no, because your circumstances have changed from last year. So, last year you weren't in leadership. Last year, you weren't President's Club, right?
Right.
Right. So it's going to vary a little bit. It's a little bit of a challenge to just blanketly go, okay, well, this is where I want to be in the next campaign. Play around with it. If it makes sense to you and you want to go for it, fill out as much as you want to fill out. But we will have a specific discussion around where you want to go, and I will show you how to determine how to figure out what you need. I can show you from where you are to where you want to go, how many orders that is, or what your average order size needs to increase to, or how many new team members you need in order to make that happen. And it does not require me to put anything in that chart. So it's kind of up to you how your brain, different people see things differently. So if your brain sees that chart, I'm all about it. But if it doesn't, I don't want people panicking, because that's usually what happens. Usually with this module, when I'm calling for the application guys, and hey, it's day before, they're like, I can't figure out this chart. And I'm like, so I just started telling them, don't even, if it's boggling your mind, put it down. It's not worth it. We'll get there. This is where you go into, and I told you on the application guide, they will have questions to help you think about strategies that you can use. And you can see here, one of the strategies is one that we've been commonly using: 5 contacts a day, 5 days a week. Now it could be high-fiving the 5 contacts a week, or 5 contacts a day, like Jenny was talking about. You send it to 5, they send it to 5. The next thing you know, you could have 30 contacts a day. But there's different strategies that you might use, right? What did you say, Sherry?
Yeah, 5 new ones every day. Yeah.
Yes, it would be 5 new ones. Yeah, and then your call to action is going to be 2 things that you will do in the next 2 weeks to make progress towards your goals. And it could be, it's usually going to come from those strategies. It's something from those strategies that you've identified that you're actually going to put into practice over the next couple of weeks. So any specific questions on that before we go and look at Vibe real quick?
No, I don't think so.
Like I said, there's a lot of helps in the information that were sent in email, but because Vibe has changed, it makes it it makes it a little different when you go to pull it up. So let's go in here. Jenny, we're just going to use yours.
Okay.
So I'm going to log in as Jenny shortly. Okay.
Doing okay so far for 5 too.
Niceness. Yes. So for the purposes of what you need here, there it is. A lot of those things, remember, team and personal, a lot of those pieces that you need are right here on the closed campaign comparison. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is scroll back to the proper campaign. So remember, we said we were starting with 25. So you can go back to 25, and there's your numbers.
Okay.
26, and there's your numbers. A lot of your numbers are going to come from there. The ones that don't could possibly come from your earnings statement, as far as what your actual earnings were. So you can click on this tab here, and eventually it will open like a nice document. Hello? Maybe sometimes.
It's coming.
It's coming. I see the word commission statement. It's making progress. I'm not the most patient person in the world when it comes to computers. And this will tell you, and you can pull this from campaign. So that campaign 4 is what you're getting paid. You're getting paid on campaign 3. What you got paid on in campaign 3, in other words. So to find out what you got paid on in campaign 25, you're going to start with 26. Although that's going to mess you up because you're not going to have so just stick with the same campaign. It won't be exact, you know what I'm saying? It won't be exactly the same campaign, but the way they have this design now, just pick 25. So you'll just start with 25 and you'll see what your earnings were and you'll go through there, and we're not going to do all that. So,
Yeah, but you said that's in the campaign 25 there, that's actually what you get unpaid for 24, you're saying though, right?
right, it is, but we're going to use it for 25 because it's still going to give you an average. Because that's all we're looking for is about what are you making right now, so we can see about what you need to make going forward. So it'll give you the average information, because what you're after is after the average. And I didn't show it to you, but on that application guide, at the bottom of each of those sections, it says what is the average. So you're doing 6 campaigns. So you're going to add up all the numbers and divide by 6 to get the average. If you forget to do it, again, we'll do it together. Don't worry about it. But that's what you're really after, is what is your average. And then I'm trying to think what else they ask you. Because it seems like there was, oh, I know one other thing that was sometimes helpful. So reports. So under my team, and then team reports, leadership performance. Because you'll see directions on going to reports and then leadership. Now it says my team and then reports and then leadership performance. Click on yourself and go to the leadership performance tab. That's another way to get, that'll give additional information like your generation on orders, how many recruits you had in a particular campaign. That's actually your total team members, not your new recruits.
This is,
Team new
I've never seen this. This is awesome.
Yes, and you can get to this for every one of your team members. So let's go back and review where we got that, since you didn't know about this one. So we'll X out of that. So you go to my team, you go to team reports. There's all kinds of reports under the team reports. That's where your tree view and all of that is now.
Yeah.
But you scroll down to leadership performance. And let's say we don't want to check on you. Let's say we want to check on Courtney.
Do Courtney. Wow. Yeah, do Courtney.
Okay. So we want to check on Courtney. Courtney calls and she can't figure out what's going on with her order. Remember, Sherry, when I talked to you about your person this morning, and I was like, so-and-so has an order on hold. Do you know what's going on? And how could they have an order on hold? Because they've gone 2.0, didn't let you do that. And basically, Jenny, just to get you up to speed, the girl had placed the order by phone. So therefore, it could have been put on hold because she had to pay for it. So, but where I saw that, Sherry, would be in her transactions. That's the key that used to be inquiry. That's where it shows you what they're doing every campaign. But you can go to their leadership performance and see how they're performing. And see what title they're at. See about what they're doing in personal sales every campaign. Niceness, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
How many recruits they have. If their recruits are selling. Yeah, not so much, right?
Yeah, no.
So that can help you to identify as you're working with your team. Well, tell me about what's going on with so-and-so. I see they're not placing orders. So you can have helpful conversations with them. But that's another place that you can find information. This is interesting because this is added to, so you can get to their campaign comparisons from inside of here now. See, I didn't know that.
And that's just individual then. That's just for them, correct?
Yeah, that's just for them and their team.
Okay.
Yeah. So, once we walk through this exercise together of setting their goals, you don't necessarily have to hand them, a 4-page document and say, fill in all these numbers, but you'll be able to have a conversation with with your team about how to set their goals and how to look at their numbers as well, because we'll do that together. We will need to talk. I typically prefer, especially Jenny and Sherry, for the two of you, I will do my best to try to schedule a time that we can do this next one-on-one in person, if at all possible. Just because it's that important and it's a lot of detail, and it's nice to be able to sit together and go through things. If we can't, this still works. But so I'll probably reach out to you and try to see your schedule and see if we can get our schedules to mesh in some way that we can meet rather than our usual time, and do that. I may or may not be able to do that for Connie and Donna, because they are well over into Memphis and I can't do overnights right now. So that's a big stretch in one day. I don't know that I could do that, but we'll see. We'll work it out. And things may change. So my timing may open up. So we'll see what's going on and go from there. But that's pretty much what you're going to do. If you get stuck and you're having trouble, call me ahead of time. That's why it's good to go ahead and start working on it now. I have had, in some cases, I've actually had 2 one-on-ones. I've had a one-on-one to walk through and help them get the numbers, and then the one where we do the actual discussion piece. So if you need help, just ask for it. Just please don't wait to the last minute, because I probably won't. I won't have time to do it. We just won't be able to do it as efficiently. It won't help you, and it'll frustrate me, and it won't help you. Because the more proactive you are about it, and the better job you do of it, the more success you're going to have. It kind of goes back to that whole 3%. You want to be in that 3% that has this thing nailed down, because you want to be in that 3% that's making 10 times as much and far more successful. So that's where we're headed, right? All right. So anything else before we close tonight?
Not that I can think of.
Not that you can think of. Well, I guess it's time to go watch the Predators play then.
Yes. We got 7 minutes.
I did it!
We did it.
I know. When you told me that, I was like, oh, that means I got to get done by 7. I don't know if I can. But
it's all good. I was going to turn it on but mute it too, so I could be able to watch in the background.
I can never imagine you doing such. Oh my goodness, Sherry, you would crack up at her and Janet, and who else was in on that? It was mainly just you and Janet.
Mainly us, and then Anita. Anita got into it a little bit too.
That's right. Anita, sitting in sales meetings with their phones, watching the game. I'm like, are they seriously doing this? Seriously, it was so fun.
We are